We've got a brand new studio! Stick around to see how that came about. And welcome back to a brand new show, brand new studio, brand new everything. I'm here to tell you how that all came about. If you followed up on all the previous episodes, you know that we had to leave the last location. That building is gonna be torn down. So don't worry, we'll keep you updated, and we'll see what they're gonna build there, and if it resembles anything that that I proposed. As for now, we're over here, and this place it's also good. It's kind of special. Where we are located now is we're still in Friesland. We're still in the north of the Netherlands, which is the region where I was born. And something very peculiar has happened, because I'm not only living in the region where I was born, but I'm also now today living in the exact place where I was born, the same municipality and the same location. So we are at Gorredijk. Interesting thing. Gorredijk is it's an interesting place. It's not a city. It's also not a village. It's called a vlekke, which means that it's something in between. It's a village that almost became a city. So it never actually became one. But it does have a deep history, and one of the reasons why I'm showing you is it a flag? Well, it's definitely the village, the Vlekke's logo or particular. You know, it's in Europe every city has a flag like this. If you're into heraldry, you might know these things. But the reason why I'm showing you this is because what's very interesting about this is that what we're looking at, of course, it's not a wheel, but it's definitely it's something that is six-spoked. So, and of course it's an oak. So definitely the oak leaves and the little acorns. So there's and also if you walk around town here, you see lots of oaks and acorns, and of course they're all into season. So you see the leaves and the acorns all laying on the street now. They're everywhere. They're very well represented in that area, which is great, because I love oak. It's a tree that grows very, very old. So it's nice to be surrounded with them. But of course, the six-spoke, it's very interesting because it relates, I think at least, it relates significantly to the Oera Linda Book, which is, of course, it has the six-spoke wheel. And also in my conversation with Jan Ott, the first one in Dutch, but also the last one, we talked a lot about how the old people, how they used to live in forests, and how they used to live in these areas in which they would have the linda trees, and they would burn down the trees inside a forest, and they would have like a very well fortified area to live in against marauders and anyone who would come in from the outside. So very interesting history. Also, I found at the local museum, I found a plaque, and the plaque said the three linda trees. Could have put that in there, but I was already late with this episode, so I didn't. But there's definitely lots of history here. So I hope you enjoy that. A little bit about this place. I was actually born here. I lived here for 9 months, and after that, my parents moved somewhere else. So I never really got to experience living in this area. But now, by fate of coincidence, I'm back here. So I'm just gonna take you through a little bit of the town here, and yeah, let's see. I got some clips stored up for you. Take you a little bit on a journey through this little town. So let's see what we got. So just to corroborate my earlier episode from the Oera Linda Book, in which I talk about the peat soil, on which underneath there is sand floor, sand ground, and there's giant boulders on there. And so for instance, here we have a giant boulder. This one was found in 2015, and yeah, it was found here in this place in Gorredijk. So it kind of corroborates the idea that on the west part of Friesland we have sea clay, and then we have peat soil, which is underneath all of that, which is a lot of dead forest. And underneath that there is sandy soil with these kind of boulders. So yeah, so yeah, you can actually find them in this area apparently. So this boulder was found in 2015, and it originally it came from the area of Denmark supposedly, which is where this type of granite is found. And supposedly 140,000 years ago, it came here via a glacier in the previous ice age, or at least that's what the history of this area tells us. Now, I've talked a lot about geology in previous episodes, but just to pick it up a little bit, so you can see down under here. So you can see the sandy soil, like a strata underneath, and then there's this layer of peat, which comes afterwards, which is where you know, all of the everything that got destroyed by you know, massive waves and forest fires and everything that we can all read about in the Oera Linda book. It all got deposited into the ground, and it became like a thick layer of peat. So apparently underneath the peat, which is what we're living on here, is a giant boulder. And then, you know, if you go a little bit more west, that's where you get the clay soil. So I just got this image, dusted it off, just to emphasize again that, you know, this is probably how the Dutch landscape works. And yeah, curious thing about the peat. This area was very, in the 1800s, it became very rich because a lot of people from Amsterdam and other western areas, they came here because peat was a fuel, and there's even people making houses out of it. Well, I mean, poor quality housing, but yeah, there's a lot of history with peat in this area, which is also why it's connected with the waterways, and you know, the whole landscape basically got rearranged with the discovery of peat. So yeah, very interesting area. So we might dive into it deeper if you guys want to. There's a whole museum out here, and yeah, I can definitely dig up some more interesting history if you guys like. Although we're not called a paradigm shift for nothing. So yeah, let's also look a little bit at the ecology around here. So we already talked about lots of oak here, which I really like, but there's also some other things. So another curious spot here. So this might just look like a regular kind of you know, kind of a park area in a residential neighborhood. But what you see here is these are all fruit trees, and they planted the fruit tree for every person that has lived in this area that is born 100 years ago. So yeah, very good thing. I like the concept. Just a person, for every person a tree, although I think maybe we should plant a tree for every person that's born. But yeah, I like the idea. Fruits being delivered. Except the only thing that you can really see when you look at this place is that, you know, they're fruit trees, but there's only grass underneath. The grass, of course, it gets mown, and so there's very little to no deposit of fertility. Even, you know, the leaves, they get raked, you know, all kept maintained very well by the municipality. Yeah, it's not so good for the trees. I think we can do better, but that's my opinion. Yeah, I'm the kind of guy who thinks that every person in his life, they should at least plant one tree, at least one tree. So ask yourself, how many trees did you plant? And also, by the rate which we're chopping trees down at this moment, you know, maybe we should all plant 2 trees in our lifetime, or maybe even 5. I don't know. You think about it. How many trees do you think you should plant in one lifetime? Well, I mean, just another example, just to understand, like how are we actually shaping our landscape surrounding our area where we live. It's good to look around it, you know, and so you don't only need one tree, you also want the underbrush, you know. Remember the food forest type that the picture that I showed before, you know, everything hanging in the climbing trees and the brush and the shrubbery and everything growing underneath, and all of that is a whole ecosystem that we have to take care of. So just you know, one fruit tree in a field is nice, but it's kind of sad. I mean, if you really like nature, it's you know, 100 people a year old, they deserve better. I mean, that's my opinion. Okay, so let's see what else we have in this area. It's July 1987. It's about midnight, and the clouds are thundering all together. And I'm born in that house right over there. These houses weren't this color yet. They had actually more that kind of color right there, as you see. And yeah, this is where I entered into Earth at this particular spot. So yeah, that's actually the place where I was born. Where it's supposed to be, you know, an area when I was born, or the time when it happened. My dad always tells me that there was lightning, and then I was born, and then there was thunder. So, I mean, do with that information what you want. But yeah, it's I came into this earth with a presence, and it was very interesting standing here after, well, let's say 37 and a half years, because you know, something peculiar happened, and I only saw it after I looked at the footage, and perhaps you already saw it before, but I mean, I put it on loop, so let's see if you can see it too. So I slowed down the footage, and there's something going up there, and I don't know what that is. So let's see it again. So it's right there. This is normal speed. That goes very quickly. At this point, it's unidentified. It's flying, and it appears to be an object. So, which brings me to my next topic, because I was born in 1985, but in sorry, I wasn't born in 1985. I was born in 1987. But in 1974, something very interesting happened in this particular place. That was from February until beginning of end of January until the beginning of March, for a month straight, a little bit more, there were very interesting sightings in this area. They're the first UFOs recorded in the Netherlands. And so what people saw is they saw lights, they saw particular different kinds of colors, and there's a teacher who even got a group together for children of this area, not only children, also just any person that was interested, and they set up like a kind of UFO watch, and they would go down every evening and they would just look at the skies and just see what they could see. I went to the local museum, and they had a talk about this. Actually, you see the poster behind here. They were so very kind to give me one of the posters, just so I can decorate my little studio a little bit. And there was a researcher called Tere Smedes, and I bought his book. And the book is called The UFOs of Gorredijk, which is very interesting. I'm reading it right now. And I invited him as well for a talk in this in this studio. So yeah, we can dive into it, because I mean it appears that it's too coincidental, all of it. Me being born here, the UFOs being here, when I go to visit the place where I was born and I film it, this happens right there. And I mean, there's no wind on this, there's no wind in this clip. When I'm filming this, you can even see my hair. It's as still as everything. So, very curious. Maybe there's something happening in this area. There's strange lights were seen, strange movement. I talked to some people who had seen it at that time. Perhaps we can even get one of those on. So yeah, if you guys are interested in UFOs, please let me know, because if we get some hype going, we get some motivation in the comments, then yeah, surely we can get some people as a guest here. So yeah, and I also know where some of these things happened. In March of 1974, this is the spot where on a typical evening people would gather to keep a watch out for the UFOs of Gorredijk. They would gather in this particular street, and the watch that was put in place by the teacher Meijer, one of those children who gathered there was Willem Vlietstra. So yeah, and this is where Willem Vlietstra first saw. He saw a boomerang-shaped kind of object, and that was one of the noticeable shapes that one of the UFOs took. That's right. He's the only one who actually, or I don't think he's the only one, but he's the only one who is still telling about what he saw back then. And that's when he saw, along with a bunch of other people, he saw a boomerang-shaped silver metallic kind of UFO. And yeah, it was one of the only other object that was seen here, which wasn't a light. So very interesting thing. So we're gonna dive deeper into that at some point if you guys are interested. So yeah, put something down in the comments, and yeah, we're gonna dig through all of this, and we're gonna make a total episode about it. So anyways, with that all being said, now you guys know a little bit where I'm at. I'm at a very curious place in my life, but also in time and space, and I'm accepting the full part of it, and I'm bringing you guys with me. That being said, today it was, you can see it is already dark surrounding me. It was difficult to get things going. I don't have internet yet, But at least I can make this episode, and it's good that we're making this episode because I'm full on backlogged with community comments. So let's have a go. Yeah, that's right. Our first community comments. All right, let's see who we have. All right, yeah, these are two comments, and they all came from the education episode. By the way, it hasn't been viewed very much, so I don't know if you guys like that kind of stuff, but you know, the paradigm shift needs to happen on every level, so it also needs to happen in the education system. So I really like that we can talk about different kinds of subjects, although apparently some are more popular than others. At least I like it if there's a good response on it, and so these two people had a good response. So Vicky S936 or Vicky's 9363. Thank you for a wonderful presentation on a very important topic. I agree, Vicky. And thank you too for introducing me to the Kelly family. Very lucky kids. Yeah, I noticed when I traveled in the U.S. that there's nobody really. Nobody really is familiar with this thing that I always saw as very international, but which appears to be very European. So if you're from the United States, you don't know this group. It's very interesting to look up. They were raised. Well, I told the story all in the episode about the education, but yeah. I mean, big recommendation for Kelly family. Fell in love with an alien, which is, you know, appears to be very suitable for this episode. So thank you, Vicky. Also, we have Northwind 0273. I hope you don't mind. I put your guys' comments together. Very interesting. Never have heard of the Kelly family before, being from the USA. Which turns out. But I agree with the need to have a better, more flexible and fun approach to education to truly prepare our children for the trials of this new world, which is absolutely true. You know, we're still stuck in an education system that will raise children for the world that we have today. But you know, with artificial intelligence and all the other possibilities coming up, we have no idea what the future is going to be like when they are going to be ready to, you know, to finish their education, you know, which is maybe 20 years in the future. What are you going to have to say about 20 years in the future? We can even predict the stock market. So yeah, it's very needed that we shift on that level too. So if you guys have any ideas or any particular topics or anything that you want to share about that, please, you know, feel free. The comment section is definitely free, so put everything in there. All right, let's see what else we have. Okay, this is a Dutch comment by Borodel 619, and he responds to the Oera Linda episode. And I translated it into English, of course, so you guys can all follow along on an international level. And he says, "Hi, is there a connection here with the work of Eelco de Boer, the mounds and the lines that come from all over the world to the Netherlands?" Well, thank you, Borodel 619. I think. I know the work of Eelco de Boer, and I mean, he's been in a whole bunch of podcasts. Well, he's been in a whole bunch of Dutch podcasts, so I don't know if the international audience is very familiar with his work. But for me, I think his work on the lines is very superficial in a kind of way, you know, which I'm not saying that it couldn't be true or it's necessarily true. I just think that it's very easy to get a map, to find points on a map and to draw lines between them, you know, which I kind of think that there is a similar practice which was practiced by people in the ancient world. You know, you see it in my leader. I have the Sirius alignment with the Egyptian pyramid and with the Mexican pyramids and the ones in China. I have them all lined up, and I think there's an interesting correlation there. You know, Eelco de Boer is also, he's not the only one doing this kind of work. He's also there's this book called Het Geheim der Eersten, which is the secret of the first, the Terp van Neptali, which is not an actual mount. It's supposed to be a mount of Neptali, but it doesn't exist. It's a fictional book in some kind of ways, but based on reality. It's from I mean, does it say on here? I mean, it's from a guy who's actually, he found some very interesting lines. He found some Capricorn lines in the near the city of Hinderlopen, connected with all the mounts. You know, it's very interesting. I would be convinced that this is the case if we found like similar things in well, perhaps the Kurgans, you know, if those mounds had something similar, or maybe in the ones in Britain, or, you know, we also have Snake Mound effigy in Ohio. So I mean, there could be, but lots more research has to be done. And I also think that you know, Eelco de Boer in particular, he's very well, let's say he connects all kinds of things all together, which don't necessarily have to have a base in reality. I mean, it's interesting stuff to listen to, but I wouldn't see it, for me, it doesn't classify as actual research. But that's just me. I mean, follow your own instincts. If you think that that's something worth looking into, then yeah, dive deep and report back to here. So yeah, we can all talk about it together. Okay, more Oera Linda comments. All right, yeah, this is someone who has actually written me a letter. So let's remove myself. This is a comment by Arthur Roby, Arthur Roby, 4945. Randall Carlson offers up a plausible reason for the sinking of Outland. At the end of the last ice age, an ice dam in Canada broke, sending vast amounts of fresh waters into the Atlantic. Water weighs a ton per cubic meter. The extra weight is caused by the seabed to buckle down at its weakest point, the mid-Atlantic ridge. The chain of volcanic islands built up by the activity of the rifts sunk under. There remains but one, Iceland. There's an undersea mound called Atlantis on the seafloor. A dredge brought up a rock that the geologist assures us is only created in a shallow fresh water. It would be interesting to send down a robotic submersible to see what's down there. The fresh water entering the Atlantic would have shut down the Gulf Stream, and it might have caused the change in the weather, reported in the Oera Linda. And the disturbance to the lithosphere would have all sorts of consequences, such as volcanoes. Well, definitely Arthur did his homework. So I mean, I'm very happy with comments like these. It's very interesting what he says, and for the most part, I can corroborate. I think this is you know, it's a good summary of a part of Carlson's work. He's done a good job. There is there's the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, and yeah, there are places that are called underground mounds called Atlantis. You know, and I agree, we should send some robotics down, you know, some stuff that we sent to the Titanic, you know, send some of those things down there and just see what's down there, because, you know, it's as I understand it, it's a ridge, so it's a mountain underwater, so there's even like you know, there's you know, who knows what we can find there. the sea floor is under excavated. So we should definitely yeah, if somebody knows, if someone has an underground submersible and is willing to float that thing all the way down to the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, I'm volunteering because I want to see what's down there. You know, if I agree with all the safety measures, of course. But yeah, I agree. One thing that I don't agree with is I think that the sinking of Atlantis, which Carlson dates back at 12,000 BC, I think that is correct because it corresponds with the ending of the last ice age and meltwater pulse B. So I agree with the melting of all the glacier water. There's clear signs in the United States landscapes that such a giant flood has actually happened. So perhaps we'll showcase some of his work at some point. More work is being done at the moment. However, I really think that what happened, or what is described in the Oera Linda book, is we're really looking at the sinking of Doggerland, which is 6,000 BC, or maybe even 5,000 BC, maybe 5,500 BC. But somewhere around that era. So I think there was another cataclysm. I showcased this in other episodes. I think there's different cataclysms at the world, but not as significant as maybe that particular one. But I think there were multiple types of cataclysms in which the last part, maybe a tiny little island was still around, and the Frijen people they called that little island, they still called it Atlant. Yeah, I think the last part actually came down in the sinking of Doggerland, and you know, islands such as High Brazil, which is supposed to be near the coast of Britain. It also disappeared at some point, and there's many stories like that, which are closer to our European mainland, but also closer in our memories. So you know, it's a puzzle, but I definitely think that it relates back to the same culture and the same. Maybe part of the same island, or maybe even a group of islands. Yeah, it's the connection Atlantis is very much there. All right, let's see what else we have. Atlant, is it an island? I mean, Danny Sammy. I mean, I like that you put down a comment, Dennis. But Atlant is island. I mean, Atlantis very much was an island, but it's not etymologically correct, as you would say it. There is, however, I mean, Bruce Stafford gave a very interesting connection to this. He corroborated Ewa. He connected that to E, which is water. And that's how you would call Eland, which would make it into a waterland, you know, which would make sense. Etymologically, that would be correct. And Altland would really connect to the old land, or the Altland. In German, still, the word for old is Alt. And in Dutch it's further away, but in English it's still old. You know, the A replaces with an O. So yeah, that's basically, I think, how you should look at it. All right, let's see. Jenne van Damme, that's a Dutch comment. which we translated into English. And Jennifer Namme says, I've been watching for 10 minutes now and I still have no idea what it's about. Well, thank you, Jenna, for sharing that with us. I understand. I understand it's a complicated story, the Outland, and I'm thinking about making an episode into in which I share with all of you people like why the Oera Linda book is so significant, because it turns our entire history upside down. It gives us an insight in what happened for, I mean, the last 7,000 years. What was in the mind of people? How were people actually living in Europe? And what are the connections that we can even pull back further? There's religious implications, because deification happened. There's all kinds of things that happen with our timeline. It really, if the Oera Linda book is real, which I think it is real. I mean, and with real I mean it's like a historical book. It's a historical context. If it is that, it changes everything. It just turns our entire history. Before the Romans, it turns it upside down. So I understand that if you're just watching 10 minutes and you have no idea what it's about, I understand that it might not be your cup of tea. However, I will try to do my best to make it accessible to everybody, to have an understanding about what it is that's actually going on there. And I think it's very important. I think it's like I said, I think it's more true, I think, than what is written in the Bible historically. So yeah, with that said, let's go to the next comment. Daoist. Daoist. Okay, he says, or she, I don't know. Finnish armies of Prince Generals Nor and Gor, one going the land route, another the sea route, who conquered Scandinavia and whose descendants King Gylfi battle Odin. Same told in Oera Linda Book at 2000 BC with battles near Göteborg, Godahisburg. Became story of invading Gutian armies as divine punishment, battled by Utu, the Sun Prince. Ancient Babylonian Chronicle 19, Sumerian King List. Well, Daoist. I've researched this thing that you've written here, and I cannot make any kind of chocolate out of it. I've written down a reply, and I mean, I hope that's significant. Okay, first of all, Nor and Gor. I have found no historical reference to who they are or what they did. Maybe Nor is related to the Norwegian area, but since you say is a Finnish army, I'm really just guessing. I have no idea. So as far as I can see, King Gylfi was a king in the Prosa Edda, which is a mythical Icelandic text from the pagan poet Snorri Sturluson, who wrote it around 1220 AD. So that's after Christ. So that's more than 3,000 years after 2000 BC, which is what you're writing about. This work was composed to preserve and explain the traditional stories of the Norse mythology at a time when Christianity was eroding all of the old beliefs. So that's why you find it in Iceland. Lots of pagan beliefs still reside there. King Gylfi's role in the text is mostly an intellectual when he encounters the Norse god. He doesn't really battle anyone, and there's no reference of him being in Göteborg. So yeah, so I couldn't connect any of that together. So perhaps I'm missing something, so please do. Yes, Odin is mentioned in the Oera Linda book, but his name is called Wodan, which is his Germanic name. And if you are referencing the stories from a Nordic source, then please be aware that the Oera Linda book tells us that these stories are heavily, that the people in these stories are heavily deified, and that's being done to use as a control mechanism to rule over the people. So whatever you think historically has happened with Odin, make sure that you understand that there's like a Magyar sauce being has been put over it, and then it evolved by people telling that story over and over again and like thickening the sauce. Then it gets really crazy for me because the Gutians, they were a historical group of people from the Zagros Mountains associated with the fall of the Akkadian Empire. For them to be part in a war in Scandinavia is a significant departure from their historical origin, which is in the Near East. Also in the Near East, you've written about Utu, which is in Sumerian mythology is a deity, and he's not a prince, and so therefore he is also not mentioned in the Sumerian king list. Without further context, I have no idea what the ancient Babylonian Chronicle 19. It doesn't point to anything specific or identifiable in the body of Babylonian literature. So, Trudust, I'm sorry, but I'm very happy that you're leaving a comment, because any comment that you guys leave out there, it helps the channel grow. So if you have any mind farts or whatever, you want them to be out there, you want to discuss them with me, or you want to put something on the table, then please feel free. That's what the comment section is for. All the comments are turned on, and yeah, I definitely read all of them. However, if you want me to take them seriously, please provide some of your homework, because this is, for me, this is not really anything that helps me in any kind of way. So I hope by kind of picking it all apart, I hope I didn't offend anyone, but yeah, this is, to me, it sounds like fiction. So that being said, a comment from Tom van Ham, which we all know him from he sent me a whole bunch of links about what you can do with old tires. So in English he said, "Well done, keep it up, bro." So thank you very much. Is my cousin, so I'm very happy that he supports me. What else we have? Right, so this is about the conversation with Jan Ott, and this comment is by Richard X5S, and he wrote to us, "I find this conversation between the two of you so refreshing. Not only do you candidly express a doubt about the authenticity of the text you're talking about, but you also try to enlighten us about the text, which may be a precursor to these books handed down to us. Thank you for your frankness." Continuing, "I find it interesting that you mentioned the giant trees in the show notes. Some have pointed out that the Devil's Tower in the state of Wyoming is the petrified remains, the stump, of a once very giant tree. Some presenters leaning into this research have presented some very convincing arguments with their meticulous examples. Our world is not what it appears it seems. In the imagination there are indeed images and worlds within worlds." Well, thank you very much, Richard. I really appreciate this comment. It gives me an opportunity to talk about some other stuff. First of all, I I don't know if it's a typo. I mean, sometimes if we're texting things on phone, the phone kind of changes everything. So I don't doubt the authenticity of the Oera Linda book. As I said, I think it's a historical book. You know, with any historical book, of course, it's condensed and it's very particular, but I think they are reporting historical events. So to me, it's more like a historical text, and this is the reason why I try to put it all into context with all the other sources and all the other texts that I can find. Now, with that being said, I really like to talk a little bit about the Devil's Tower, which is this one. You know, I can understand how people might think that, you know, this could be a petrified tree. However, please keep in mind that when you're looking at the world, not everything is exactly as it seems. You know, as my leader, it shows that, you know, a walnut, it looks like a brain. And that's not accidental because nature works in patterns. So I don't know if this is created by nature. I'm not sure. However, there's a lot of geologists who say it's created by nature. And with that being said, that you know, first of all, let me say, I do believe we had giant trees here in Europe, massive trees. I showed you in the example with Jan Ott, I showed you a picture of a giant boat cut out of one tree, and that was from the Roman era, so that's not that long ago. We had massive forests here, and they were all sacred by the people who lived here. There were giant cedar trees in Lebanon in the past, and there's still enormous redwood trees in California, and luckily they're still there by the work of some conservationists, because otherwise those would have been chopped down as well. So please remember that's what our ancient world looked like. Now, the Devil's Tower is a very interesting feature, and there are petrified forests around the world. However, I don't think that this is one of them. The reason being is that the rock that makes up the Devil's Tower is phonolite porphyry, which is very different than what petrified trees are made of, which are made out of silica-rich minerals such as quartz. So there's a very distinct difference, because this is more connected to what we would think comes from lava, such as basalt. In contrast, the Devil's Tower appears to be from an igneous made rock, which is from cooled magma, which then creates these hexagonal pillars, which you can actually see. It's like the rock is made like out of these pillars, which you know, makes it look like the bark of a tree. So I understand the confusion. But we see the same thing as in other places, such as in Northern Ireland, a place called the Giant's Causeway, and at the Gorredijk Gorge in Armenia. So for you guys, this is the Giant's Causeway. So you can see these are stone pillars, and it's close to the seashore. And this is the Gorredijk Gorge in Armenia. So as you can see, they're like there's basalt pillars. Now these I mean, I'm not sure that these are made from lava or if there's something else, because I think they're very peculiar, and it mostly has to do with that we find that it appears that ancient people used these type of pillars, this kind of pillars, as building logs, basically. As we can see famously in Gunung Padang, which is over here. You can see these pillars are basically stacked up into logs, and well, this has all come down. It's an archaeological site, but what it is in essence is it's a pyramid. It's a pyramid made like from Lincoln logs stacked like into a structure. Now this is in one of the mountains in Indonesia, but we also have Nan Madol, which is in Micronesia on an island that's uninhabited. And it's part of it is under the ocean. So that's a salty sea that you see there, and it stretches out into the water. So very interesting, very old. Also, this is in South America. This is a tomb, and the tomb is connected to what you call the rubber people. I forget the name. The Olmec, of course. How can I forget the Olmec? The Olmec, often familiarized with the facial feature that look very African, but the statues are found in South America. Also, these are found in South America. Now, it's very interesting that these type of pillars, these kind of basalt pillars, they're made into structures into Indonesia, Micronesia, and South America. Which definitely fits with a different understanding of our history. So thank you very much for giving me that comment, because it explains something. It gave me the chance to explain something which I think is very very interesting, and this is my research, and perhaps this brings you a little bit further. And don't believe anything that anybody says. Do your own research as well. Not every mountain is a petrified tree, but also keep an open mind. You don't know what it could be. All right. With that being said, we have to go to our sponsor. Sponsor of today, of course, it's Druid Secret. Now, Druid Secret. If you have a medicine cabinet and you don't have any CBD oil in it, better go to druidsecret.com and order some of the best quality CBD oil that's out there on the market. I use it myself. It's perfectly fine. It's excellent quality. It's not heavy or anything. It's like you can almost feel the lightness when you put some drops under your tongue. Very good quality. I enjoy the product very much. Also, if you're ordering, so it's not just by watching this that you're helping out the show. You're only helping out the show if you're ordering. At this moment in time, I've just found out that the amount of sales that have been done on Druid Secret via Paradigm Shift, it hasn't. There's no sales yet. So if you guys really want to support me, this ad is really to make sure that you guys get quality premium products. If any of this stuff is something that you can use, I mean, you can use it for like a host of I always feel that guy with a cart going through the West with one of those tooths hanging out like in Django Unchained, the salesman who has like you're hurting your feet, well, this helps. You have migraines, well, this helps, and it's all the same bottle. Well, actually, CBD oil is something like that. So it helps for menstrual cramps. It helps for if you have arthritis. It helps for pain. It helps all kinds of different illnesses, epilepsy, all of that. There's a whole range of uses. There's even uses that I cannot make any medical claims for on this episode, but there's a whole bunch of interesting research out there, and you guys who are already with one foot into the paradigm shift, you know what I'm talking about. And this is one of the the cleanest quality products that I have found that actually gives you that. So I wouldn't be promoting this if I don't believe in it myself. I'm not here promoting any kind of VPN service to you or any other kind of product or Temu or anything that you see anywhere else. I'm here promoting the products that I really believe in. I think that advertising should be something that would help the betterment of humankind, and not only the betterment of the person who's selling it, who wants to grab up more sales. So that's the reason why I'm also promoting Druid Secrets. So if you don't have any CBD oil yet in your medicine cabinet, go to druidsecret.com, use the code Paradigm Shift. So if you're using the code Paradigm Shift, you're helping yourself get a discount, you're helping the show get some income, and you're helping the Druid Secret to have more sales. And I'm very sure that if you're ordering some of their products, some top quality products, and you think that you try them out, I'm very sure that you will definitely come back for some more at some point. If you do, don't forget to use code Paradigm Shift. Get your discount there. All right. With that being said, let's get back to our regular programming. All right, we're still working on our comment section. I mean, this whole episode is going to be comments. So we have more comments from the Oera Linda episode. One comment is by Mr. Benjamin Fries, or maybe he's Frisian. So I mean, that's the way you spell Fries in Dutch. So either Mr. Benjamin Fries or Mr. Benjamin Fries. I mean, Mr. Benjamin, if you ever want to open up a snack bar or something like that, Mr. Benjamin Fries, I would go there and I would buy there. So that's a good product title right there. And he basically says, "Thank you, gentlemen." Well, no, thank you, Mr. Benjamin. Thank you for the comment, and thank you for watching. I really hope you stick around, and yeah. Next time, pop in some fries. All right. Reese Woods, 75. You should definitely keep producing printed versions. Please do. Yeah, I'm not the person who is creating printed versions, of course. My guest Jan Ott, he's doing the project, and I agree. I agree that there should be more printed versions out there. I mean, the one that I have, it's lovely. It's with photocopies of the original book. It's beautiful. I know that they're working on a new version, and I also know that they're working on a version that's better readable. I'm not sure if they're working on a Dutch translation now, since there already is an English version out there. But yeah, it's difficult in these days if you want to produce something and you have to fund it all on basically volunteer work, and you have to do it all yourself. I mean, it's great. It's really great to have such a community out there who loves these kind of things. But I mean, what's even better is to get the promise of the book out there, which is also, I mean, if you haven't been able to get your hands on a printed copy of the text, please go and read the wiki. wiki.oeralinda.org. It's a very good resource, and it's a continuous update on the new translation. So cyber tribalism, cyber is the reason why, because he types it in Dutch, so that's why I'm thinking I have to pronounce it in Dutch, but I translate it into English. Cyber tribalism says, you're talking about a bee tattooed on the forehead of the Tocharian Tarim Basin mummies. Is there a link to that article? Yeah, so there's no article. There's just a whole bunch of research. So for you guys who don't know, in the Oera Linda book, it's said that people who were banished to the British Isles, they were tattooed a bee on their forehead, standing for Brit, and the Brit would mean that they would be a castaway. They were Brit away. Away from the Fryan society, and the Tarim Basin mummies, which has been found in China, they, there's one of them who has something that resembles a bee tattooed on their forehead. Now, before you guys say that these guys, they didn't have any tattoos. So right here you can see this is one of the male mummies. You can actually see there's definitely a tattoo on the side of the head. It looks kind of like a solar ray or anything, or I even saw like people saying no, it's like a tail of like an animal that goes over the skin. I mean, I'm not sure what it is. But yeah, it's definitely a tattoo, and there's more mummies with tattoos out there. So it's not uncommon. Now, supposedly these mummies, they are dated back to 1300 BC. Now, which is very interesting, is that 1300 or 1200 BC, 1300. I mean, the dating is not super accurate. There's multiple dating for it, but remember that at 12,000 BC we had the Bronze Age collapse, and I relate that back to the second cataclysm that is described in the Oera Linda book. Now, as far as the tattoos go, this is the mummy, the female mummy, which had, at least she has something tattooed on her forehead. Now, I've heard people say that that's not a B, that's two O's. I mean, it's kind of interesting to resemble it to a B. It's definitely is a very thick tattoo. Also what's interesting is that notice that this one and this one, both of these people, they're very Caucasian. They're blonde, they're redhead, and they're definitely not Asian. They're found in China, in the Tarim Basin, which is in China, and it's a much more interesting history than we're being told again. So I mean, it could be a bee. I mean, this is what she would look like maybe when she was alive. I mean, look at those eyebrows. I know some women who would be very jealous to have those kind of eyebrows. They're not from an era where they actually pick things apart from, remove the unibrow and everything. It could be. Now, there's also rumors that these originally came from Scotland, from the Caledonian tribe. I haven't been able to refer that, so there's no articles or anything like that. However, there's a textile expert. Her name is Elizabeth Wayland Barber, and she examined the tartan style fabric, and she claims that it can be traced back to Anatolia, so the Caucasus, and the steppe area north of the Black Sea. So that's already much more west than the Tarim Base. The textiles found with the mummy are a particular kind of type of European textile, and they're very similar found to textiles in salt mine bodies in Austria around 1300 BC. So, Barber identified waving techniques in the Tarim textiles that resemble those found in ancient Europe, specifically the twill and the plait patterns that are typical of Bronze Age Europe. This includes checked or tartan style patterns that are especially distinctive. So there could be a very good lead that this relates back to the European people in the time of the Oera Linda Book, based upon the work of Elizabeth Wayland Barber. And I just think that the tattoo on the forehead related with the practice that the Frians had, I think it's peculiar. With that being said, next comment. What else do we have? Right. Mr. Or Mrs. Positive Vibe 6595. He or she writes pseudopigrapha hoax. Please wake up. Positive Vibe, I'm very awake. And for all you people who have no idea what a pseudopigrapha hoax is, that basically means that it's a falsification of a text that appears to be historical. Which is always, it's something that I think it happens more with texts that have that are supposedly have a certain claim, such as texts that say, well, it's originally part of the Bible, and then they try to be important by claiming to be part of that biblios, that library of text. I don't see any reason why people would do that out of the blue for an entire history of an entire people. There's a whole bunch of videos out there which they claim to have a lot of claims of why the Oera Linda Book is it couldn't be real, or it would never be real. Well, all I would say, Mr. and Mrs. Positive Vibe, is show me your homework, because I'm showing you my homework. It's this channel, and everything that I'm researching, everything that I'm finding out, everything that I'm sharing with you guys, it's all here on the table. So, I mean, you're very welcome to use the comment section for anything that you'd like, except a comment like this. Show me your homework. Type a better comment. Do something better. Write something why you think it is a hoax. I mean, there's really no sense in typing anything like that and just running away and just saying people need to wake up. I mean, I think people who are awake will actually look at this and think like, well, that's very peculiar. How can I fit it in with all of this other stuff that is lying around, which is not fitting with the history that we've been told already for years and years and years? So I think that's what's going on. So yeah, please show me your homework. All right, what else we have? Heelmeesters LR 5232. She says, great podcast again. Regards, Cinda. Well, thank you very much, Cinda. Heelmeester, it means healer, master of healers. So I'm very happy to have masters of healer in my community. Always good to have those people. I hope you, if you're into healing, I hope you really like the episode with Dr. Jan Leung, or Professor, I should say. All right, Bumjimonotstrom. That sounds almost like Scandinavian. Bumjimonotstrom. Yeah, this is really good. Much appreciated. Well, much appreciated for comment, Bumjimonotstrom. All right. Laura Jane loves beauty. I love beauty too. Very kind of you to do it in English, but I really love to listen to other Germanic languages on Twitter. They really are a beautiful language family. Plus, it feels like we're connecting with some of our ancestors hearing it. I know, I'm silly. Well, you're not that silly, Laura Jane Loves Beauty. I think it's really great that we are allowed to listen to other languages and other cultures, and I think everybody should at least learn, have 2 or 3 languages under their belt. So I'm cheering it on. It's just that it's not the world that we live in. But luckily for you, Laura Jane, there is already an episode with me and Jan Ott, and we're speaking in Dutch, and we're talking about the Oera Linda Book in Dutch, so you can listen to that right now. It's already out there. There's English comments down below if you want to check out what we're talking about. And also at the end of that interview, he also reads a part, and he reads it in original Frisian language. So if you want to hear what it actually sounds like, make sure, I think it's episode number 7. It's the first real interview that I have on this channel. At the end of it, there's a part where he actually reads it, and you can listen to what it actually sounds like. So make sure you go over there, leave a thumbs up on that video too, we'll be continuing this this show in English, but hey, maybe every now and then you might hear a different kind of video with a different kind of language out there. So stay tuned. All right, these are the comments that come from our episodes with Dr. Jan Leung. Very interesting professor. I'm sure more of his discoveries and more of his research will be promoting it on this channel right here. Why? Because what he does is he is giving his methodology to the world. He gives us the medicine of the people, as he likes to call it himself. It's medicine that is that can heal us all from within. So no external medicines needed. It all is inside of you already, and it's not fake. It's real. It's very much real. And yeah, I agree. It is very amazing. There's a comment of DVW9536. I mean, at this point, the numbers are just silly. DVW. Maybe D is driving a Volkswagen. She's writing in Dutch, so in English it says, very interesting material. So she's this is a comment under the interview with Professor Y.K. Leung. However, he is so long-winded in his stories that it kept dropping out. It also detracts from his high-level skills that he keeps talking about evidence. If people don't want to believe him, let them. And it's a shame that he kept avoiding the good question about how he knows which meridian to activate and didn't answer it. Also, the last special video about the coma patient. How did it end? So, top theme, top skills, but the man would gain enormously in strength in his message if he would rid his story of repetition and too much information about his own life, and on the other hand, give a to-the-point explanation about what and why he does and something and how that has a concrete effect on the body. Well, first of all, thank you very much, Dee, for your comment. I really appreciate it. I understand that it's a long-winded episode. I mean, it was 1 hour and 45 minutes, which is my longest episode yet. So I understand if that is a little bit too much for some people. However, I have to defend him a little bit in this case. First of all, if you have lived your life in a kind of spiritual realm where everything is mystified, where all of a sudden you have these powers and you get these powers and you you try to use them for good, and people try to punish you for doing what you're doing, and saying that what you're doing is from the devil, and you're going against everything that was good done by the spiritual teachers that have gone before you. You're demonized, and all of a sudden you find that out, and and at that time you're in your 50s, and at that moment you're still so dedicated about what you can do and what you have found, and you're not convinced that you're anything special, but it's just the capabilities that you have acquired, and that you can see that other people can acquire them too. And at that point it's very easy to just put on a monk costume, and to just go out there and just claim you're a spiritual healer, and you can do everything that you can do, and charge a lot of money for it. You'd be comfortable for the rest of your life, for the rest of the life that you have. Except what Professor Leung did, and I very much commend him for doing this, is he went to get an academic study. Not only that, he got his PhD, and he studied a kind of medicine that doesn't exist yet. He studied the medicine that comes from within, that you can send without. He's written his thesis, and all of his peers, all of his medical peers, they have agreed on it in China. So the traditional Chinese medicine, the TCM, they accept his work. And what this means is, it means that there's an entirely new form of medicine out there, and nobody is practicing it. Some people are validating it, but he's the only one who can continue giving it. And so I understand with that background that at some point he wants to repeat certain things, because he thinks that they're important for people to understand. So it's better to repeat them a couple of things than that people don't understand it. If people mistake him for some kind of spiritual guru or some kind of mystical teacher, then that is a failure of his work. And so I commend him for doing that, and I really appreciated him coming onto the show and explaining his whole backstory, because for me it's almost like a Hollywood film in the making. It's you got the script right there, and so the same with the Hollywood film in the beginning, where you have to, when you're watching Spider-Man or you're watching Captain America, you have to first see how they become that, and then there's then afterwards you can see how they save the world. And so I think this was necessary. I think it's also good. I didn't see his story anywhere else being told in this particular detail, so I'm very happy that I gave him the opportunity for him to expose all of his backstory on this platform. I'm sure he will be back, so I'm sure we will talk more about the question about the meridians, how to activate which one, and all of that, but also it's a type of information that comes with a little bit of patience. And I understand if you're impatient, but if you are impatient, then make sure that you're subscribed to this channel, because there's definitely more interviews coming up, not only with Professor Leung, but also with some of his students who can do the same things that he can do. Yeah, we're very happy to have this connection with Ache Research, and there's no need for him to prove anything that he has been doing in the past. So we're just taking our time to just slowly go through it And yeah, if you have any questions, put them in the comments, and I'll be sure to ask them for you. So thank you for your attention there. Okay, what else we have? This is a comment by Daoist. Compliment to the interviewer. Well, that's me. Thanks. He asked the right questions. It is indeed a pity that the professor sometimes did not could provide answers to questions asked. Well, I think he did answer them in some way, but perhaps, you know, the question is only a vehicle for getting to a good answer. So if the answer was satisfying, maybe he answered a question that I didn't ask. But yeah, if you have a question that you want to ask, put them down in the comments, and I'll be sure to ask him for him. And yeah, we'll be back on the show. All right. Also about the interview with the professor. Interesting about the electrical devices malfunctioning. I had several electrical issues at work when I was doing quite intense Qigong routine for a while. Yeah, that's basically it. It commends with the story. It's the professor. He has so much electric magnetic energy stored up in his body that whenever he would walk under a light bulb on the street, the light just go off. You know, VCRs, anything just would stop working, all because the energy is stored. Now you cannot see the energy, but it doesn't mean that it's not there and it's not interacting with electromagnetical fields that are in our environment. So I certainly believe that that is the case, and I'm quite sure that at some point we'll be able to film some of that. So yeah, all right, that's about it. That's all of our episodes. Not our episodes. That's all of our comments. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this. We're in this new studio. There'll be more and more episodes coming from this place. I hope you guys like that we're all up to date with all of the comments now. I really want to make sure that this is not just me sending things, it's also you guys communicating back to me. So if you like this episode, do you have any interesting topics that you found in this episode you want to discuss more about, make sure you put something down in the comments. Also, make sure you've subscribed. If you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? It's free. It's a huge support for us because we get pushed up in the algorithms the more subscribers that we get. And also, if you find any particular interview or any other episode, or maybe this episode, you find them interesting, share them with all your friends, put them on Facebook, put them on X, put them on Instagram, put them wherever you want to put them, send them via WhatsApp, do whatever you think you want to do. All the information is down below. And last but not least, make sure you visit our sponsor. We're very happy that we're partnered with them. I hope that at some point you guys will send them some love from this side of the screen. All right. Thank you all for watching. I'm gonna make sure that this gets uploaded. We're already late, so I hope you guys are not waiting too much. But next week we'll be back from our brand new studio. All right. Bye bye.